We didn't go for a bumble because there was some zebra distress calls in the distance and the lions' heads popped up like they were going to move, but unfortunately it was very, very short-lived before those heads went straight down again. Oh, shame. Tired kitties. Probably had a few unsuccessful hunts and sleeping off the torrid time they might have been having, not being able to catch anything. So I think we are going to leave them now and go on a little bumble, and we'll come back to them a little bit later. Now, we had one cloud over us. I think it was that one. It also rained all over us. Not really too hard, but enough to start me worrying slightly, because it sort of came out of nowhere, and that happens quite often in the dark. So you're sitting there with lions, the vehicle's open, everything's wonderful, and then you just hear this dump on your roof, and you go, I can't see any stars, this is the problem, and then you get dump, and then you have to rush to try and pull the tent down, and that generally means you've got to drive away from the lions. Of course, we don't want to be running around putting our tents down next to the lions, and it sometimes can be quite comedic. Getting a bit chilly, shuka over my legs. As most of you know, I like my birds quite a lot, and Roshni is wondering how different is the birding during the different seasons. Well, Roshni, I suppose I haven't spent a full year here yet, so I can't tell you for sure. But in the summer season, I'm looking forward to seeing some of the migrants around. But I would say a lot of the Mara bird species are resident, and that's due to the weather here. Lots of water all year round. So it is quite nice. Oh, there we go. There's Alfred. Let me say hello quickly. Hi, Alfred. Very good in yourself. Any lions apart from the ones there under the Angamas?
I saw at the crossing point, but they were on the opposite side.
On the other side. Ah, okay.
There was something there.
Okay. Maybe tomorrow.
Where did you get the cheetah?
Just one. It was over here.
No, I saw on the page.
Oh, that's on Runner Ridge. Very beautiful, yes. So Alfred's been watching, and he said he saw Jamie with the cheetahs this morning. Okay, well, good luck. I'm going to go see if I can find the rest of the pride. There's only 2 females here, so I'm sure the other ones are up here somewhere.
How long are you staying overnight?
No, tonight I'll only stay out till maybe 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, but our other car is at Purangat, and she'll be out till midnight, 1 o'clock, sometime there.
I wish you the best.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Yes, please.
Okay. Okay, well, we're going to see if we can find the rest of the sausage tree pride, or maybe we'll get lucky with that female cheetah still. While we do that, let's go to Tristan, who's looking for little things at Twin Dams.
I am looking at little things at Twin Dams. So we've got a little water boatman, and you can see why it's called a boatman, because of that oval-shaped body with those 2 oars basically that come out that help it swim around underneath the water. And it's not every day we get to see them, so it's super cool watching them shoot about and swim around and go crazy. There's the odd little fish around as well. There's another water boatman going that way. You can see there's a big elephant ball of dung, so you can work out just how big our water boatmen are. They are tiny in comparison to the elephant dung. Now, there were 1 or 2 fish around swimming in the background. I can't see them now. They seem to have moved off. And there was a dragonfly larvae that also was there, but I don't know where that's gone. But it just gives you an idea of how small. There's another water boatman. There you can see his oars quite clearly. Very cool. A little bit darker, that one. So nice to see. And it's not something we get to see very often at all. While Hosana is sleeping, Senzo spotted all of these different insects moving around in the shallows of twin dams, and it really is very cool to see. And amidst all of these insects and varying other small invertebrates that are around water, and I wonder if they're not feeding off the vegetation inside the elephant dung. So you can see they're all latching onto it. You see varying others. They're also probably using it a little bit for safety, because it'll be a place where they're able to go down and fish can't get to them. There looks like a fish at the back. Is that a fish? Looks like a little fish that's darting forward. So it doesn't look like the boatman, that one. That looks like a small type of fish that is swimming. What kind of fish it is, I'm not quite sure. There's probably little barbs is what they are. 3-spot barb is what we get in this area. George, you're asking if we can eat the fish in the lakes at Djuma. George, no, these fish would be far too small. These fish are tiny, tiny, tiny. Like I said, that's a ball of elephant dung, to give you an idea of just how small those fish are. They are minute, so they wouldn't even be a snack. And I don't know, I think the water here is so sort of stagnant sometimes. I'm not sure I'd want to try one, although I suppose it's if you cook them properly you could. There are bream species that we do get here that can be eaten, and catfish species that we call a barbel, and those will get eaten from time to time and are okay, but I'm not sure I would be hugely into eating fish out of some of these, given what I've seen go on in these waterholes from the elephants defecating and urinating, and buffalo and all kinds of other things that go on inside here. But amazing to watch, isn't it? It's not something we get to really see very often at all. So they're not fish, they are boatmen. Even those lighter coloured ones, I thought they were fish, but they're not. They're an insect that is moving around. It's quite difficult to see because obviously it's through some murky water, and their little oars are not very dark like that other boatman we saw just now, so they're tough to see. I thought, like I say, that they're fish, but they're not. They're insects and that are moving around in the water. But well spotted, Senzo. That is super cool. Bree, you say so much activity. There is so much. Hosana was completely sleepy, but he's waken up now. He's starting to groom himself. He's been yawning a little bit, so I think he's had a day of rest, and I wouldn't be surprised we're going to start getting going now. Hopefully it's not going to be southwards. I'm hoping he's going to start heading north. I wouldn't mind going on a hunting expedition with Hosana. It would be really nice to see him hunting again, and you can see there's a bit of sunlight now coming out, and look at how beautiful his colors look in that sunlight. He's getting that little bit of color coming through and a bit of grooming going on, and this is very typical of a cat that's prepping to move. So they groom, they get rid of any parasites that have gotten onto them, any loose fur that is developed through the day, get their coats in good condition. You can see he's cleaning between his toes there and making sure that they're all prepped and ready for the evenings, moving around and making sure that his feet are in good condition, like a little pedicure that he's going through right now, and making sure that he looks good and is healthy. So this is a typical sign before cats get going, and like I say, yawning coupled with this generally indicates that we're going to see some sort of movement in the near future. So hopefully, like I say, it's north and not south. I really don't want him to go down into Little Gari, because that will put a bit of a ruin or dampener on my plans this afternoon. I was hoping that we'd get here now and Hosana would start waking up, maybe have a little drink, and then from there start moving up the Mulawati and maybe go on a little hunting expedition. Lots of nyalas and bushbuck and impalas and steenbok and duiker in the actual Mulawati on my way down, so hoping that he'll head that way and do a little bit of hunting there. But isn't he beautiful? Very dexterous too, as well, by the way that he's able to groom almost on his own back, which is pretty amazing. So nice to see the way he does things. But really is very pretty leopard, Hosana. What I was also amazed about is just the size between... Oh, there went a dove. A dove almost landed right in front of him. You could see he kind of turned his head a little bit. So the dove is just on the left-hand side there somewhere. I can't see where it's gone now, since I think it's flown a little bit past. But he saw a dove coming in and his eyes lit up for a second, and then decided, nope, not going to have any of that. And then decided to carry on grooming. His brother his older brother, Shivambalan, that's how he got his name, is by catching a emerald spotted wood dove, because that's what Shivambalana means. So that's where he was, and he was doing exactly this. He was busy grooming, and then a dove flew past and he just grabbed it out of nowhere. But how beautiful is the reflection in that greenish coloured water. Very, very pretty. Well done, Senzo. And this light is just getting better. It's almost starting to filter and become a soft yellowy light. You often get this after rain. You get this most wonderful light developing in the afternoons, and it was exactly what I was hoping for. So I'm sure Hosana is going to put on a wonderful show as he sits there and enjoys the last of the afternoon sunshine. Now, you can see he's now moved on from the front legs to the back legs and is doing the exact same thing, just grooming the toes, maybe a bit of sand in between there, keeping everything in check. And we'll stay with him and monitor whether he gets up and moves. But from one spotted cat in the sunset to another, let's go across to Tayla and a beautiful cheetah.
Woohoo! We made it! Finally, we found wildebeest. We have also found this beautiful spotted cat, who I want to see if it is a male or a female. You look very much like a girl. I do not see any of the bits that make you a man, but we'll have a quick look. Let me just keep up with her. So I have a story to tell you. I met with one of the wardens, and he actually gave me the info on this cheetah. How kind of him. He said that he watched it chase after impala and grab an impala lamb, and then unfortunately lose it to the hyenas, which is sad for the cheetah, but it works out well for us because it means someone's hungry. Except we want this cat to let's not drive us into any holes. We want this cat to, of course, stay on the left-hand side. We don't want it to come to the right because we can't off-road on the right-hand side. So I'm going to give her a bit of space. And there's plenty of wildebeest around. There's also loads of... what else is there? Some impala, some zebra. I'm just scanning, some topi. Let's go up here. What we will have to do, though, at some point, before this gets too exciting, is very quickly put the infrared light on. But I just wanted to show you all this beautiful cat. It's so nice to see. And we also just quadruple check that it is not a boy. No, doesn't look like it. Very lean though. Could do with a meal, don't you think? So let's see what's going to happen. Where are you going to go? Who are you going to go for now? You better be careful. Going that way though, because I did see some lions in an area where we can't off-road, and they're so far off the road that unfortunately it's no good for us, especially when it gets dark. You know, during the day it's different, but we lose light and our infrared lights can only go so far. Oh, built for speed. I mean, have you ever seen anything as fantastic as a cheetah? I think I'd choose a cheetah over a sports car. And I think they could do a better job too. Never seen a sports car catch an impala, but hopefully we'll see this cheetah catch one. This is very cool. Now, I don't know what cheetahs roam around this area. I've never been here before. This is my first time. So we'll have to learn together. We're basically... what are we? We are eastish of Purungat Gate, but still in the triangle. So I don't know what cats like to hang around here at all. Let's see, Craig. Let's follow her. But like I said, we're going to lose light fast. And before it gets too exciting, before she does go and chase something, we'll have to put those infrared lights on. Otherwise, you are not going to see anything. We're going to miss the hunt. But we came racing here. Chantal, are you still there? Now, Bravery, you're wondering how much a cheetah weighs? She looks fairly underweight because of, well, she hasn't had a meal. But not how much she weighs, how much the tail weighs. Well, that tail is just about the length of her body. I wouldn't know. I'm sure it's got a little bit of cartilage, muscle. Not going to be much fat there. But I don't know if it'll weigh too much at all. Maybe less than a kilogram. But who knows? I'm quite happy not ever knowing how much a cheetah tail weighs. Just because I can only imagine one way that you'd weigh it, and that would be a cheetah without a tail. So let's not even worry about how much that can weigh. Let's keep it on. Is it a good? I can't see very well. Craig, can we zoom right? We need to get right in there. See, I can't. I think I'm fairly confident that it is a female, but watch it surprise me. She's very tall. I suppose I'm so used to seeing so many leopards out and about that a cheetah, well, in stature is obviously a lot more slender. But the cheetah definitely taller than those leopards. Oh, so lovely. We didn't find the leopard though. There was also apparently a leopard sighting. We had a little look, but there's a possibility though that because they are quite shy out here, they're not like the Sabi sand leopards, that possibly it ducked off into one of the drainage lines. Now, Chantal, I don't know if you heard me, but we're going to have to put our infrared lights on because she's obviously on the move, so she might be looking for something to eat. What on earth are you? Craig, can you see that tiny little bird on the ground? I have no idea what that is. Someone take a screenshot, please, and share it with me because I'd like to try and figure out what it is. I don't think it's a mannequin. No, it's running bizarrely on the ground. It runs like a ground-dwelling bird. Never seen that before, but I shall figure out what it is if you take screenshots. Remember, hashtag Safari Live, and then I can identify it for you later. I'm going to be out for most of the night, so I'll be able to do that. Chantal, are you still there? Wonderful. Right, I'm going to send you back to Tristan and Hosana, but don't worry, we won't be gone for too long. We're just going to add our infrared lights.
Now, Hosana is having a game with a little Franklin that keeps running back and forth towards him. He's now lying flat, pretending like he's not interested, and the Franklin is running for its life. But just now, the Franklin was actually coming straight towards him. There you go, you can see he's popped his head up now because the Franklin has run away, but the Franklin was walking straight towards him and he kind of hunched down and was trying to pretend like he was not interested, but I think he's quite upset that the Franklin has gone all the way over that side. But look at how majestic he looks on the edge of this water. He's really turning into a beautiful individual. He's watching the Franklins on the other side of the dam. You can hear the Franklins are chasing each other around. Larissa, you're asking if cheetah, lions and leopard males and females reach maturity at the same age, or does it differ between the sexes? Well, it's not that they reach maturity at different ages, it's that the opportunities to mate come at different ages. So a male lion, male leopard, even a male cheetah to a degree, they have to get stronger and big enough to be able to compete with other males, and that normally takes a little bit longer than when they're actually sexually mature and able to mate. If you look at something like a female leopard, she's already starting to mate at 2.5 years old. Even lionesses, 2.5, 3 years old, they can start mating, and they'll normally conceive their first cubs at around 4 years, or 3.5, 4, if they, sometimes a little bit earlier if they're lucky. But males generally don't come right with mating until they're around 4 to 7 years, depending on the individuals. There are anomalies, obviously, outliers on that scale, but generally the males only are able to mate at a much later stage. But look how serious he looks. Isn't he magnificent? Hosana, you are looking beautiful, my boy. He's very, very well fed. He's healthy. He's definitely growing by the day. He's starting to get a very wide, round face, thick neck, and the male leopard in him is starting to come out and blossom, and he's in his teenage years now, so he's going to start going towards that 2-year mark, and then once he starts to get to 3, 4, then that's when he's going to really put on quite a bit of size. And then when he gets dominant and that testosterone flush happens, that's when he'll do that last bulking up and then become massive. So hopefully he's going to be an impressive male, and I'm pretty sure he will be wherever he ends up. But he is looking as regal as one could ever want to see from a leopard. He's sitting beautifully for us at the moment, and he almost looks as though he's kind of surveying his landscape from his throne, which is Twin Dam's wall. It seems to have become his place. He loves spending time here and watching what goes on. There's varying different types of birds and animals and all kinds of things that come down to this section and drink, and so it's the perfect place for a leopard to spend their time. But isn't that beautiful? I think so. I think there's not very many things in this world that can rival a beautiful male leopard when it's sitting head up like that, legs crossed on the edge of a waterhole. It's a magnificent scene. We've even got a bit of cloud to add drama to our afternoon, so you can see that's kind of scene that we're looking at the moment, and it really is a beautiful one. But you can see now why I was saying it's difficult to spot him. You can see the camouflage when he's up against that wall. You'd think that yellowy color would really stand out, but as you can see from that, it doesn't. The spots actually blend into this mottled wall effect, and he can blend in very, very well. Beautiful though. Carsten from Denmark, you're asking if any of the big cats have the falling or landing on their feet part that domestic cats have. Yes, leopards, when they fall out of a tree, I'm yet to see a leopard land funny. They always generally land on their feet even when they fall, and lions to a degree. They don't really fall graciously, but they will land on their back legs or their front legs, or all four of them, but they generally don't land on their backs ever. They kind of twist themselves in the air and land on their feet. So it is the same with domestic cats as our leopards. They do, and lions, they do the same thing. Cheetah, I've never seen a cheetah fall out of a tree, so I wouldn't know, but leopards I've seen fall out many times, and they generally do land on their feet quite well, unless of course you're Anderson male and you're dragging a carcass up a tree and then you basically fall with the carcass. That throws you off balance and you don't then land on your feet at all. You end up landing on your back and side. How he didn't injure himself, for those of you that don't know what I'm talking about, Anderson male was videoed once taking an impala up into a tree, and he then fell for some reason. He fell out with the impala and landed in a heap at the bottom of the tree. So that wasn't ideal and not very elegant, but it's very seldom that we see things like that happening. Look at him just watching the water. Are you watching the terrapins? Maybe he's watching the little water boatmen that we've been seeing flocking past and or swimming past, and he's intrigued by all of that. It's just a wonderful, wonderful sight to see him like this. And he's almost looking as though to say, where are all the animals that come and drink at this time of the day? It's not a hot day, so maybe the animals are not coming down, and he's going to have to be patient and wait a lot longer for anything to move into this area. So I'm just looking behind me to see if there is any impalas or anything drifting, but nothing for him at just yet. But I don't think he's going to be down for too much longer. I really do believe that he's going to yawn now, and I really believe that he is going to start getting up and going shortly. Maybe come down for a bit of a drink, and then he's going to start going. Now, Hosana is sitting patiently waiting, looking around, and he really doesn't seem to care too much about any of the other animals that we get in this area. But one animal that will be worried about running into other spotted predators like we had this morning is the cheetahs, and I believe Tayla's cheetahs are having a tough time.
Oh, look who's sitting low on the mound as on a termite mound as the hyena came charging past him. She's not having much luck coming back again. This hyena definitely knows that the cheetah's here. Now, there have been a couple of them calling about. I suspect there might be a den nearby, because I saw a couple of heads popping up from the ground, but in a non-off-roading section. So maybe this is the one that stole her meal earlier. It's come in the direction that she was in, but it is heading off to the whooping sounds that we heard just a moment ago, to obviously the rest of the clan. There you go. Don't worry, girl. But the hyenas won't hassle her too much if she doesn't have a kill. I mean, there's no point. Hyenas don't necessarily go around just killing other predators, but isn't that absolutely gorgeous? She's staring across at a herd of wildebeest, but they're very far away still. She's still got quite a bit of a distance to travel if she's thinking of taking on a wildebeest. There'll be a couple of youngsters in there that'll be suited to her size, especially because she's on her own. which is typical for a female cheetah, unless she's got cubs or sabots with her. But otherwise, this is how you normally see female cheetah. It's the boys that you'll see forming coalitions. So I was just reading a message. Jamie was saying that a double crossing, which is a crossing on the other side, is completely flooded. So they aren't able to cross it at the moment. It just goes to show how much rain that area actually had. It must have been spectacular, that side. And last night, well, I don't know, I suppose there's such different areas. Once Brent and I were 6 kilometers away, and I was sitting in the pouring rain, and he was counting the stars. So you just never know. But it's looking good for us so far, and hopefully I don't jinx it. And hopefully it'll be good weather for this lovely girl. Because if it does start pouring with rain, maybe she's going to go seek shelter. Who knows? Predators do like to hunt in the rain too. They might have a better chance. That is gorgeous. To see a cheetah walking with rain falling in the distance and the sky on fire. It would only get better if she heads up a bit higher so that we can get a silhouette shot of her. Let's see if we can follow her. Oh, actually, I'm going to stay. Oh, no, sorry. This car is a disaster. I'm trying to get it into low range, but it's really not the easiest. Go in. There we go. Sometimes force is the way forward, especially with these cars. Now we're going to navigate some rocks very quickly. Well, there's no such thing as navigating rocks quickly, that's for sure. But I want to try and keep on this side of her so we can get that silhouette. She needs to move up a little bit higher though, and then it'll be perfect. I'll try and get up so we don't have to keep moving. There we go. Now, Andy, you're wondering if lions with cheetah are more successful than lions when hunting. Well, it depends. Unfortunately, cheetah and lions don't have the strike rate like a pack of wild dogs. They really are the winners when it comes to being successful when they hunt. We know she's just made a successful kill. She killed an impala lamb, but unfortunately it was stolen from her. How many times she has tried before she got her hands on that impala, her paws on that impala, I'm not sure. It's really a tough one. I haven't seen a cheetah kill from start to finish. I've only watched a couple of attempts, and I've just missed them catching things because they were behind a tree or something along those lines. I would say that lions maybe have a better success rate because they hunt in prides. If it's a coalition of male cheetah, oh wow, look at that. Then probably about the same. Oh my gosh, that is like an absolute dream come true. I've always wanted to see the silhouette of a cheetah walking along the skyline on a high ridge. So there we go. I can tick something off my bucket list, and I hope that all of you can tick something off too. I mean, we dream of shots like this. Craig, have you ever filmed cheetah like this before? Craig says no, and he's jumping for joy now. So if the camera starts to shake, it's not me being excited. I promise you it's Craig. This is beautiful. Now, I really hope we're going to see our first hunt. Shall we keep going? Because she's actually caught up. Well, she's jumped ahead of us, and I know there's a few rocks, and with cheetah anything can happen. She could spot something just on top of the ridge, and we could be too far behind her, and off she goes. That'll be a hard one to keep up with. I don't even think I'd keep up with a cheetah. Wild dogs, yeah, they give you a run for your money, but I think a cheetah's on a whole nother level. So let's see what she's going for. She didn't seem to be moving towards those wildebeest. There were a couple watching here on this side too. And she's just heading further and further up. Is that a buffalo? You can't hunt a buffalo. Let's see what she's going to do. Now, Francis from Israel, wondering if hyenas, pesky things, follow cats around, and they do indeed. They love following leopards around, predominantly in the Sabi sand. They often feed on the same carcass, and then cheetah, they just take the kill from them. So yes, they will. So I'm sure the hyena will hang around in the area. Like I said, I think there's a den nearby. There's a buffalo up ahead, but she's not interested in the buffalo. I mean, we've seen the lions being chased around by buffalo, so a cheetah is really no match. A young buffalo calf, perhaps, not a problem, but again, you've got to fight with a big herd of buffalo, and we know how dangerous that can be, so I don't know if he would take that chance. He's a lovely cat, though. I think we'll probably try and follow her for most of the night until she successfully makes a kill. Let's be optimistic here. Just stopping, staring, looking back, scanning, dreaming. There must be about 100,000 wildebeest just on the other side of the Mara River, quite close to the Purungat Bridge, so it might be a good spot to sort of head to. So she's going towards the tree. Are you going towards the tree? Oh, whoa! Turbo kicked in there. Felt like it just jumped. Wildebeest! Look at the wildebeest running. Where are they going? I'm coming here. There's a young wildebeest calf in amongst this herd. I'm just going to stop. Again, we have seen it with predators when they are moving through an area, you'll get their prey coming into an obvious spot, saying, we know that you are here. Don't try and catch us because we can see you. But a cheetah can run particularly fast. She doesn't look like she's showing too much interest just yet. She's just sort of walking. This is now a picnic spot at this tree. There is one young wildebeest calf in there that could be tasty for her. Are you going to go stand on that little block? That would be great, wouldn't it? Put your paws up there, looking up to the top of the tree. Let's see. Now, I'm sure there's plenty of other animals that have scent marked up against there, but if she is coming into estrus, which I'm not sure, maybe she's going to mark, maybe she'd be picking up on the scent of a male. Let's see. Just having a good old smell. A little beacon. And from those scents, she can tell who exactly has been past here. I'm sure she knows the scent of a... Yeah, it looks like she's hidden herself, but I'm pretty sure the way that she just cocked her tail, that she was perhaps scent marking up on that tree, so maybe she's interested in a potential boy that's around. I can hear the hyenas making all sorts of funny noises down below. The wildebeest are now running alongside the cheetah. That's quite cool, actually. Oh, in the sky, everything is so beautiful. Oh, wow. I mean, even you can just see with the sky behind me, it's absolutely amazing. Now, Roshni, as we drive, I'm going to try and get another good spot here. You're wondering about this cheetah, and what is the largest size of prey that a single cheetah could take down? There you go. All on its own. Well, for a male cheetah, because they're slightly larger, and again, if he was hunting by himself, say he wasn't a part of a coalition, he'd take down wildebeest. I mean, I've heard stories of, coalitions taking down adult wildebeest. I would say for a single female cheetah like this, you're probably looking at a sub-adult wildebeest would be big enough. Now, when you are on your own like this, and we see it in the Sabi sand a lot, when a female cheetah in particular, or males on their own, are by themselves, in the Sabi sand they would catch lots of steenbok and deka. It's a small meal. They can eat it fairly quickly without too much hassle, unless there's some hyena or there's a leopard or something that's, maybe nearby that will come through and steal it. There's zebra, there's topi, there's also impala, there's lots of game around here, so we'll just keep up with her. And they would catch the smaller things and sort of have a bit of chance of holding on to it. If you're on your own and you kill a sub-adult wildebeest, it's going to take you quite a bit of time to feed on that. Now you've also got the worry of... running right in front of her. This is incredible. Of having something harass you because it's such a large kill. So I don't know if it's the same thing out here. You don't really see, I haven't seen as many smaller antelope species besides the Thompson's gazelle, the odd oribi here and there. And of course the impala around, but not in numbers like we see in the sand. Okay, right, let's carry on. Like I said, we've just got to make sure that we try and keep up with her for as much as we can. Right, now we saw her smelling up against that tree, against that Lalanites tree, and I suspect that she also scent marked herself up along there. And there was a question from Bree about her senses and whether she uses her sense of smell to help her find food. I think it's a combination of things. I think they use a combination of hearing. I think Cheetah's eyesight is particularly good, just like any predator that has got binocular vision. And I think that their sense of smell definitely plays a part. So I don't think it's just one thing that they're relying on. It's a little bit of everything. Ooh, this could be very pretty because the wildebeest and the zebra are now silhouetted. And hopefully she heads towards them. If she heads up a bit higher, we'll get another silhouette. Oh my goodness. But even just that of the herbivores at the back is fantastic. And you can hear the classic the of the impala. That didn't even sound like an impala alarm call. That was hopeless. You think I'd know better, especially since they're the animal that we see, well, we see more of every single day when we're in the sand. Doing a little zigzag technique there, aren't you, girl? What have you found? Not a scrub here or any mouse maybe lurking in the grass that got her attention, or the scent of some sort? She's definitely soldiering on, though. See how everybody's just watching her, not really paying too much attention? Well, not yet. And they're all alarming, saying, hey, we know you're there. Don't even try anything. I reckon, though, if she finds another group of impala, or maybe some Thompson's gazelle, she could go for it. Okay, well, we've got to carry on again before she gets away from us. Isn't this great, though? Now, I'd said to you before I came to the Mara that one of the things I wanted to do was spend time with Cheetah, and I unfortunately hadn't really had the opportunity to do so because of the high density of vehicles within the private areas of the Sabi Sand and wanting to see Cheetah all the time, and because they're not particularly common. So I'm definitely going to spend as much time as I can with this girl. I'd love to spend some more time with the musketeers. The rain sort of ruined it for us the last time. Well, the first time I found them, unfortunately. What are you going to do, girl? Oh, you know what? I just want to see. I want to make sure she doesn't go running after anything, but look how gorgeous that is. Remember how I told you I've been dying to get a silhouette shot of impala bounding across the skyline? Well, we won't get that yet. We'll start with the zebra and the topi, because that is absolutely magnificent, isn't that? That is really a postcard. Is there any possibility we can have a closer look? So I've got a shot for all of you that you've got to try and get, and you've got to tag me in it, because I'm not going to take any pictures of this. You must all just enjoy this. Look at that. Topi, zebra. You've got to get all of that in, and remember, hashtag Safari Live. Add it to your silhouette collection. That's so cool. Here the crowned lapwing, very unhappy with that cheetah marching through, though. I don't think she'll be particularly interested in 2 tiny eggs or 3 tiny eggs. I don't think that would be very tasty. No, you want something a little bit more substantial, don't you? But she's also smelling, like she stops and she zigzags, and that's not, I don't think that's a particular hunting technique. I've never seen that happen. I know I zigzag when I walk towards a giraffe, but she's picking up scents on the grass, so maybe she's looking for something? Who knows? There's a lapwing. Okay, let's go again. Oh, there's a couple of Thompson's gazelle. Richard, you're wondering what the success rate for Cheetah is? I wouldn't imagine that it's very good, very high at all. Maybe slightly less than a lion, but I am not one to ask because I cannot talk from experience. I can only tell you what the books say because I've never seen a cheetah hunt from start to finish. Like I said, I either get there and then they chase and then they kill something behind the bushes and I've missed the whole thing because it is a lot denser in the Sabi Sand. So my best chance is actually here. And I'm going to be completely honest with you because I'm also here to learn. And so I said I want to spend as much time with the cheetah in this area so I can learn all about it and cross those theories that people have said things that cheetah do and maybe then I completely disagree with it. Alright, I'm focusing quite heavily now. I'm also going to quickly scan with my binoculars. I just want to see if there's any other prey around. Maybe she's just sick of it and she doesn't even want to eat anything else tonight. But I would imagine, as lean as she is, that hunger must be setting in now. So cool. This is so great. This is turning out to be a magnificent evening. But we're going to sit here for a little bit longer. Like I said, I'm going to try not let her out of my sight. And hopefully it pays off. Tristan, however, is sitting with young Prince Hosana.
I am indeed. You can see he's done a little turnaround. He did a little pirouette and is now grooming the other side of his body. So, oh, no, don't land there, bird. That's not the place to land. So there was a thick knee that came in. Oh, now he's going to play Harry Casual and just kind of lean back. Is that not... There's a thick knee that came flying in. So that's a water thick knee that we've got there with a white stripe on the edge of the wing, or on the wing itself. I'm just looking at Hosana, probably wondering, what are you doing? And she got a bit of a fright. It was about to land right where Hosana was, and then decided no against that. But you can't get much more gangster than that. He's got the gangster lean. He's leaning up against the bank. He's busy grooming himself. And he's looking super chilled with life. Now, a Nyala bull did come down just now and drank, and he kind of watched it, but I think he realizes a Nyala bull is just a bit too much for him to grab at this stage. It's also, he was in no position to be hunting anything from where he was. He had to have crept around the entire edge of the dam, which is near impossible actually at this stage. And given that it's so open here, that Nyala would have spotted him in 2 seconds, so he's not going to be able to do that. Hello, beautiful boy. Look at how wonderful his eyes are getting. They're almost going more orange by the day. They sort of lightening up, but going orange, orange, orange. It's interesting. You're starting to get an almost Lumula eye color. For those of you who don't remember, Lumula, he was a male that we used to see around Chitwa, Hoffman's, a little bit into Shirley's. I think he was once or twice seen on the live drives. I'm not 100% sure, but he might have been seen on Safari Live a few times. But he had the most incredible orange eyes. And then there's the flat rock male, which has also got very similar eyes to what Hosana's got. So they're becoming very mesmerizing, those eyes. And it's amazing that our two young boys both have incredible eye colors. So Hosana's getting these orangey colored eyes, and then on the opposite spectrum you've got Tumba with these blue-green eyes, and they both are absolutely striking. When they look at you, it's quite something. They kind of both have this look that you get a bit mesmerized by them. So nice to see that both the boys are going to be good-looking lads later in life. So Lily, you're saying, how do I know who this leopard is? There are so many names. Well, Lily, the thing is that it's not so much, I mean, some people use spot patterns and will use certain markings to kind of indicate who exactly he is and how they tell him apart. So as far as I know, Hosana is a 3-3, but for me, spot patterns are helpful in the beginning, but once you see a leopard for a long period of time, you generally kind of get a sense of who they are by just what they look like. Much like you would recognize your cat or dog that you have at home, it's the exact same thing with these leopards. As we get to a point where we start to recognize them as individuals just because of spending a lot of time with them. So for me, Hosana's just got a certain look about him that I get, and I know in this particular section, the young males that we see here, it really can only be Hosana or Tumba, and they look very different, the two of them. Like I say, they have different colored eyes, so it's really quite simple to see him. He's got this kind of pinkish nose, orangey colored eyes, the 3-3 spot pattern, which is those spots over the whiskers, and that just helps to be able to work out exactly who they are. So there's a general kind of appearance for me is always more helpful than a spot pattern, because a lot of the time we see these leopards from far away and you can't see the spots from 20 meters. Even from here, I can't tell you how many spots Hosana's got on his face, but what I can tell you is that he's got the Hosana look about him, which is that pink nose, those orangish colored eyes, and that general sort of roundish face that he has. A very typical Kruger family face. They've got stout muzzles and roundy faces, and they are beautiful. Now, I was talking about Hosana's camouflage. The camouflage of that thick knee, oh no, it's now stood up, but it was sitting down, and I promise you it was impossible to see. It's a pity it's now gone down to the water. I'm hoping it will go back to where it was and sit down again, and I'll be able to show you exactly what I'm talking about. I think our Hosana is starting to wake up, but look at him grooming. I always love when leopards groom their paws like this, when they have their paw out in front and then you see that long pink tongue kind of go along the length of their paw. It always is a beautiful way to see them. Are you surveying your landscape, Hosana? I wonder if one day this will all be his. Imagine if it does. It would be interesting, that's for sure. It would definitely not be something that I would have expected. Lily, you're asking what's happened to Kruger's territory and who should get it. Well, it's been quartered and divided and split up in chunks to all the females in the area. So at the moment, Tundi has made the most movement into Kruger's territory. She's now taken this whole southeast corner, even up, I suppose, into the central parts of Djuma now, and even northwards. The other day she was seen close to Buffelshoek Dam, so she's pushing quite far and taking that whole eastern section, and then Shadow seems to be taking the whole western section at the moment. So Shadow's being seen along on the western boundary, not as far north as what Tundi's been going, but still pretty much the western section is now Shadow's. So the two daughters have pushed in there, and then we know Shangila at one stage was moving around just on the northern section, and there we go, he's starting to think about getting going. Oh, just got to alleviate some itches when we're doing this. You can see a few dark clouds in the background. And interesting, the first insects that I've heard at night since we've been in the winter. It sounds like the cicadas are almost starting to call a little bit now. Oh, but look, there's a soft sand going up. What have you got your nose in? There's a little hole there, and you see he's digging a little bit. I wonder what you found there, Hosana. How beautiful is that, though, him just creeping over the top of the dam wall, just checking, slinking over, and I wonder if he's just going to sit and give us a little look over his shoulder. It would be really nice if he did. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to just go back up onto the dam wall, because I want to be able to... Oh, look at that. I'll just stop there, because he's looking over his shoulder. Isn't that beautiful? That is as good as it gets when coming to a leopard, that's for sure. The only thing that could be better would be if he just walked slightly across outside of those branches that we've got there and sat in a nice clean part of the dam wall. That would be the only other way that this could be any better than what it is right now. That is absolutely beautiful, especially silhouetted against that dark sky that we're getting on the eastern horizon. Almost looks like we might get some more rain now that there's some big dark clouds coming from the east, and so he's just kind of watching them. But that's the sky that he's under. Isn't that magnificent? Very, very pretty. And I think he's just watching and checking what's going on. Megan, quintessential. You see, you're using my words now, Megan. Slowly but surely we're teaching Megan the quintessential words. She makes fun of me because I use it so often. Itching again. Little itch between the shoulder blades. At least he can scratch his. It's not like us as people where we struggle to be able to scratch our itches that we have on our shoulder blades. It's really not ideal when we get those itches, but at least he's able to do it. Now I'm going to quickly shoot round because I think he's going to cross out of our traverse. He's going to head south, which means that we're probably not going to see him for too much longer. So I want to try and just get up and out as quick as possible and keep up with him and see the last of him going over. Let's try and get through this section without killing Senzo and myself. There we go. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Where are you, Hosana? Or are you going back now the other way? Well, it looks like it. Looks like he might head north now, which is good news. It means he might be heading deeper back into Djuma, or he could have just gone round the back of this vehicle and then will turn south from there. Although, where are you heading? No, he is turning north by the looks of things, which is fantastic. It means he's turning deeper into Djuma. So I'm trying to just cross this muddy little section, which is very bouncy, and I'm bouncing around all over the place. So a bit of a workout going over here for the old core muscles. There he goes, he's just going north, and that's great news, guys. This is perfect. This is exactly what we wanted. We wanted him to head north, because north, for us, means that we get to see him for longer. So fantastic. Now it's almost time where I'm going to have to get my spotlight out until we're able to put on our infrared. So we'll have to just use the spotlight for a little bit, because we don't have our infrared just yet. So there we go. Just crossing Not just yet. He's looking around. He seems to be quite wary. He's obviously heard something that he's now listening to and just checking, but he must keep pushing northwards. He needs to go down into the Mulawati and northwards, and that will be much better for us than if he goes south. Where are you off to, Hosana? He looks as though he's a little bit kind of unsure which way he wants to go. There's a few Aramok babblers that are shouting at him. And hang on, he's creeping away and he's salivating as well. What have you seen, Hosana, that I haven't seen? He's seen something. Lou reckons it's Tumba that's here, so I want to go down and just see. We're going to let somebody else go in front because they haven't had a chance to go. And so I want to just have a look back here because he's looking behind this damn wall. I wonder if Tumba's not here, or somebody else like Tundi. That could also be another leopard that could be around. But I'm going to go drop down into the drainage line and just see if he's going to pop that side. It looks like he's heading down in towards the Mulawati, so I want to head into the Mulawati and just see if there isn't another leopard lurking that side. We also know Tingana, he could also be here, even though he was on Nkoro and Cheetah Plains this morning. By now he could easily be in this direction given the weather that we've got. So I wonder just who is lurking, because all of a sudden there was a bit of salivating. He went into a very different position where he was kind of stalking lower, which is a little bit of a change. So I want to head round and see, and we know that there's been lots of alarm calls around here, lots of sort of audio for birds shouting, and also tracks for a young male leopard. So maybe Tumba, I don't know, it's going to be interesting nonetheless, because somebody is around that's causing Hosana to go into a very different sort of mode than what he was for most of the afternoon. He was kind of relaxed and ambling along, and all of a sudden just stopped, and then he started hunching down, and it's typical of either seeing a prey item or seeing or seeing another leopard. The salivating part generally means another leopard. Oh, come on, Wendy, off you go. Come on, come on. There we go. So we just had to get Wendy through the soft sand, and now she'll be okay, and she'll be able to maneuver through here just fine. On this bank. Oh, there we go. Who's that? There's a leopard there, but it looks like Hosana. No, there's another leopard here. I don't know who it is. Is this Quarantine? No, is that? Who is that? No, it's Hosana that's this side, but how did he get here so quickly? How did he run across so fast? I don't know if maybe there's another leopard, but here is Hosana this side. It's not another leopard, this is definitely Hosana. So I don't know how he got to here so quickly and why he's facing this way now. You book another Ingwe, but this one is Hosana, but so I'm just asking the guys, but that is Hosana for sure. So how he got across, I'm not quite sure. He must have run across, and now I don't know. It's very odd because his behavior is also as though he's watching something this side now. I don't know. Yeah, he must be hunting something in this general vicinity. Either that or there's another leopard lurking around here somewhere, but he's kind of run across and now he's coming back again, so I don't know what he's seen, but it's definitely Hosana for sure. That is him through and through. I'll just light up his legs there, give him a bit more colour. What have you seen, boy? He must have chased something this way and missed. That's the only thing I can think of, because for a second there I wondered if maybe his older brother was around. Dear watcher, you say he looks spooked. He does, doesn't he? He looks as though there's something going on, and I'm not 100% sure what's happening at the moment, but there's definitely something that's intrigued him, and like I say, either he's chased something over this riverbed and is now coming back, or he saw somebody else and went this way and checked. But I don't see any other leopards around here that I'm not 100% sure. It's a mystery. What are you up to, Hosana? There always seems to be something going on with this cat when he's around. He seems to always have some sort of intriguing stuff happening. Look how beautiful he's looking though. He's really starting to fill out properly. That's why for a second I thought it might have been quarantine just because of how big he was. Cody, who's 6 years old, you want to know why he's got black around his mouth? Well, Cody, that's just how it is. It's unfortunately with leopards they have these markings like this, and it's all there to help break up his face. So when I mean break up his face, it's when he's staring at an animal. He wants to be able to be as camouflaged as possible, so he wants to hide as well as possible, and those black markings help to match the light in the shade and make it very difficult for the prey animal to see him. So that's why he's got black in those areas, just to make sure that it helps keep him very well hidden from any other of the prey animals, and that he can then hunt and stalk. Well, I have no idea what he's doing. Maybe there's a Daiko or a Steenbok that's run this direction. He's now coming back to check, but he certainly watched something or ran after something down here, and who knows what it was, because if it was another leopard we would have found that they would have had a face-off. They wouldn't have dispersed as quickly as this. And look, now he's coming straight back towards us again. I'm just going to drop my light down as he walks towards us. You don't go southwards though, boy. You can see how relaxed he is though, just walking behind the car. Typical Hosana maneuver. Okay, but don't lie down like your older sister did the other day. I think he's moving down the riverbed though, and he is going to sit there. Right, I want to just try to get out of the way of the vehicle in front of me, so I'm going to just turn a little bit. Is he still close? Is he close? Oh, we're not going to be able to turn. Not yet. He's still too close behind us at the moment. I thought he was a little bit further than what he is. He's literally right behind the car, and he's pulling the same stint that Tundi pulled the other day, where they sit right behind the car. I don't know why they like to do this, but for some reason behind the car is where he wants to be. And so, is he going to go to the toilet? It looks like it. Don't go to the toilet in the tire track, because then somebody's got to drive over that, and a bit of leopard dung in your tires is never a pleasant experience. It smells quite a bit, and it seems to stick to the tires, and so not very pleasant at all. What has he seen though? I don't know. He seems to be in a state of undecided whether it's toilet time or time to move on, but it can't be comfortable either way. Now I believe I need to link, I'm not sure to who, I've got no comms, so we'll go across to whoever it is, and hopefully it will be a beautiful sighting.
Find any cheetah, but as we got back to where those two lovely girls were, they were on the move. Now there's one just in front of us and one to the right. I can just make them out at the moment, so we will be using infrared light to view them, and hopefully they're heading out on the hunt. Now, I mean, you can barely see anything in front of me, but you're going to have to believe me, there's a lion right there. There we go. We have a look in infrared. There she is, moving west. And the other lioness is just off to the right somewhere. I actually can't see her at the moment. So as it got dark, they decided it was time to get moving. Okay, I'm going to have to keep up with them. Now, you'll see I have to put my headlights on every now and then so we don't fall in a hole or bump into a termite mound. As I was explaining earlier, patience is incredibly important when you're spending a lot of time with big cats, because they do tend to sleep a lot. Lions in particular, 20 plus hours a day. Let's see where Where's that other lioness gone? I think she's around there somewhere. Yeah, there she is. Having a sniff. Now, it's always the fun part now. Which one do we stick with? I think we're going to stick with the one we were with initially. Which is up ahead. Just make her out. And I will flash a spotlight every now and then to see what might be coming ahead of the lions. Nothing so far. Now, Lily's wondering, why are they called the sausages? Lily, it's because they like sausage trees. So they do tend to climb sausage trees. Oh, there was a jackal I heard alarming at them. It sounded quite close, the little jackal. There it is. There's a pair of them just over there. So they might have a den close by, so that's why. I just heard this wow, 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 wow. They don't like lions around their babies. And the wind is picking up. I guess they're going to take the light off them. The wind is picking up, which is great if you're a lioness on the hunt. Strong winds will help mask the sounds of them moving. As you can see, they're getting right to the edge of our infrared light, so I'm going to have to move again. Hopefully I don't find any warthog holes this evening. Now, as I say, Tristan's cat run continues. So we're going to stick with these girls while they head off into the darkness. And Tristan is still with one of my favorite leopards, and possibly the only leopard who's ever stalked me on foot, Hosana.
We are still with him, and he's, I don't know what he's up to. He's all over the place. Oh, and a big jump down the bank. Hello, big boy. What are you doing? He's like running around as though there's something that he wants and something that he's trying to hunt, but I can't see what it is. So I'm trying to just kind of reverse and stay with him, but he keeps moving up and down the bank. He's making it difficult for us to kind of predict where he wants to go. There he comes now, slowly but surely. He's heading kind of towards where we are. So there he comes. Look at that, he's almost like he's on the prowl. He is heading south, so we're not going to have him for, I reckon we'll have him maybe for another 5 minutes at the most. But I don't know what he has seen, and he has decided, I want to hunt it, and he is chasing things, but we can't see what it is. I don't know if there's maybe a little rodent or something that he's seeing. I'm not sure at all. What are you watching, big boy? Beverly, you're asking if the spotlights are bothering him. I don't think so. He's used to the spotlights, so we'll go into infrared anyway, just to make sure that we can kind of keep him without having to worry about spotlights. But here he comes now, just walking down the road. And he's going straight into Little Gowrie within the next 5 seconds, I would say. It's really not going to be very long at all, unless he stops on this side. No, he's heading straight towards Little Gowrie now. I don't know what it's been all about this afternoon. He's kind of been, he went north, then he went south, then he went east, then he went west, and now he's heading towards the main road and out of our area. I'm going to try quickly, but it's beautiful with him spotlit like that, isn't it? Roshni, you say leopards are a lot more active compared to lions. They are, and that's why I love spending time with them. The lions are amazing when they're active, but that's not that often. At least with the leopards, you know if you spend a bit of time with them, they will get active fairly soon, and you will end up with a really kind of interesting sighting at some point. But there we go, he's busy crossing into Little Gowrie now. Oh no, maybe not. Now he's scent marking, or at least going to the toilet, that is. You'll also see with the spotlights, just so that you were saying if they're worrying him, you can see we're not shining on his face, so we shine down on the ground in front of him and just kind of bounce the light up towards him and make sure that we're not in any way shining in his eyes. And so if he wasn't sure about the spotlights, he most certainly would avert his gaze from them, whereas now you can see he's really kind of not too concerned about it. So just shine in front and make sure that we don't shine into his eyes, and then everything's okay. And there he goes. That's going to be our last views of Hosana as he disappears into Little Gowrie. So he came from there today, and well, now he goes back, and he's crossing exactly the same place that he crossed this morning coming in. So back down to the south and venturing into his territory that he had, well, not territory, but his area that he moves around down here. He seems to spend a lot of time down in the south in Little Gowrie these days, and so kind of bounces between the two. And you can see just how he's going to melt into the darkness as the range of the light gets too far. And so while Hosana slinks off into the evening and disappears into the thickets of the Sabi sands in Little Gowrie, we were talking about cats being active and lions not as much as the leopards, but it seems Brent's lions are up and moving, so let's go across to him.
There we go, we're still with these gorgeous sausage girls, and you can see they are hungry, they're not starving by any means. And her ears are up. She might have heard something up ahead. As I say, there were topi and zebra in this area a little bit earlier. Okay, we need to keep up with her again. Check where the other one is. There's a retired wildebeest from when all the wildies were here. There's some carcasses strewn around this area. Okay, I've got both of the girls. I just want to get up ahead a little bit, so in case there is something there. Some giraffe coming up, but 2 lionesses. Giraffe might be a little bit big. But if there's a baby giraffe, that they would definitely have a gander at. And they're moving quite quickly, as you can see. They're really marching now. She's going to pop out next to us. And you can see how pitch black it is till we put the infrared on. So the grass is quite short after the wildebeest have been through here. So you can see them using the slightly more bushy areas, providing a little bit more cover. So there's some giraffe up ahead. I don't know if there's a baby with them though. Hold on, we got some mud to deal with. Where did all those zebra disappear to? There were lots in this area earlier. So far ahead of them, devoid of life apart from giraffe on the horizon up there. Now, walking parallel to us, just in the nice thickets there. Oh, watch out, we're going through a bit of a bump. They might have heard zebra in the distance that we can't see yet. They could be over the next little rise. So it's a slightly undulating country here. Yeah, now we've got both of them on the march. You can see that front lioness is quite a bit bigger. The back lioness looks to be a little bit younger. Wind's starting to pick up even more, which is great for the lions. Roshni is wondering what differences in hunting strategies have we noticed between the greater Kruger area and the Mara. Now, one must remember that lion hunting strategies will vary wherever they are in Africa. The lions in the greater Kruger are far more proficient at hunting buffalo, for example, but that's just because they don't have the amount of choice that these lions do. Generally it seems to be only the males and certain prides that'll hunt buffalo, and normally only during the wet season when the wildebeest aren't here. Lions are taking us off the road now. Ooh, bumpy, bumpy. The lions here, they've got the migration, so they'll charge into the migration, no real stalking or anything, and just wait to see if something happens or if there's an injured one, or lots of different tactics. There are also quite a lot of warthog hunters here, so they'll actually wait around burrows, but again, a lot of those tactics can even change seasonally, and never put a round hole, a round peg in a square hole. Was it the other way around? I think it's the other way around. A square peg in a round hole, because as soon as you do that, you are going to find them doing something you say they don't do. And that's the wonderful thing about being out here with these animals, is that their behavior can change, and to a certain degree, certain behaviors are learnt from each other. Like, for example, elephant hunting in Botswana. It's very much a pride thing rather than a lion thing, and it's only in areas where they've been forced to take advantage of the massive amount of elephants and very little other game during certain times of the year. Definitely on a mission, these girls. Just making sure I'm not seeing any eyes up ahead, and aren't any so far, so time to keep up. Oh, hole. Looks like they're not favouring the roads this evening. Now remember, this is 100% live from the Mara in Kenya. We're with two lionesses on the hunt in the pitch black. it definitely has been a day full of cats. Lion, leopard and cheetah. So let's go see how Tayla and her cheetah are getting on.
So our cheetah has decided that she needs a little bit of a rest, which I don't blame her for. She ran around, she caught herself a meal, she had it stolen from her. You probably used up quite a bit of energy doing so. And then to find her just resting up on a termite mound, not for very long, and then getting on the move. And she actually travelled quite a distance. I'm very impressed with how quickly she covered that ground. But that's also quite typical with the cheetahs. And so sometimes if you leave them in one spot, you can come back 20 minutes later and they'll be kilometres away. They really, really do move. There was not an uncommon sight in the Sabi sand to be following a male cheetah from the southern section of the reserve. This was down in the south of the Sabi sand. And then within an hour's time crossing out on the northern boundary. When they want to go, they move. And we see it all the time. We see it with wild dogs, how quickly they go, but their gait is normally a little bit quicker and more constant than that of a cheetah. She's just obviously walking. And it's the same like a leopard or a lion, male lion, going on a serious territorial patrol. They also cover areas very quickly. Now, even though it's completely dark out here and she has sat down in the long grass, I think she's just waiting for everything to settle. It's not to say that cheetah don't hunt at night. That's a big misconception. They most certainly can hunt at night. And I have sort of come across cheetah at dusk just after the sun has set, feeding on animals when we were with them, 20 to 30 minutes prior to that, and had to leave though, because when you're a guide and you have guests around, we don't have infrared cameras, of course, so you have to leave a cheetah at just at sunset. No spotlighting of cheetah and no cubs, of course, as you know, and things like wild dog we don't spotlight either. We only spotlight the nocturnal creatures. So, but you'll bump into them, have a quick look, keep the lights off them, of course, because you'll know that the hyenas will come charging in, or even a lion or a leopard, and steal their kills. So you just want to keep them as hidden as possible, and that's what we're doing here, and that's where we're so lucky, is that we are able to sit in complete darkness. I can't even see how far away she is from my car at the moment. I'm just sort of guessing. She's listening to lions roaring now. It's very, very, very far away and very faint. So I doubt that any of you will be able to hear it, because I'm just hearing it. But there's lions surrounding us. There's lions to the west of us, there's lions to the north of us, and there's lions to the east of us. And there's plenty of wildebeest around. Are they going to be on the right side of the river? I only hope so. Now, Lucian, you're wondering if this cheetah could climb trees? She most certainly can. She won't typically climb a vertical tree, something as tall as a marula, like in the Sabi sand, but most certainly one that's been pushed over by elephants. One tree that's got low-lying branches that would make it quite easy for her to climb up, but she'll be climbing trees for a completely different reason than that of a leopard would. She doesn't take her kills up trees, she feeds down on the ground, but when you live in open areas like this, it's quite tough to see over the tall grass, and you can see it's really quite high here. The wildebeest haven't been through this section and grazed it short just yet. That will change, I reckon, in the next few days. So she'll be using it as a vantage point, just as we see animals using termite mounds. They will do the same thing. And again, they're actually not too bad at getting up. The problem comes in with with cheetah and lions, is coming down. They don't seem to be as coordinated as they are when they go up. That's where leopards take the cake. And of course, they can go up a tree and come down just as well. But we're going to sit with this girl and see what she gets up to. She's not completely flat just yet. She's still pricking her ears. Tristan is not sitting in the cover of darkness. He's got his spotlight out, and I wonder what he's searching for.
Well, just bumbling back, but I've just found tracks for this other leopard on top of my tracks from this morning, and we know that Hosana was at the dam the whole morning and day, so it must be Tumba that's moving around here. But I'm checking very carefully and very slowly. The last tracks I had were coming out of the Mulawati again, right where his tracks went in this morning, and heading back to this general vicinity. So I'm just driving slowly and scanning around with this light, trying to hope that I pick up his eyes somewhere in this area. But definitely the tracks are on top of my tracks from today, which is interesting. They're not on top of the tracks from this afternoon from some of the other vehicles, but they are on top of mine from the morning, which means that he must be somewhere in this general vicinity. Like I say, just got to find him wherever that may be. He might be just sitting underneath one of these bushes, or maybe he's begun to move around now and I've just missed him by him not facing towards the spotlight, because if he's not close and he's not facing towards me and he's down on the ground, well, then I've got no chance of spotting him. But it's a good kind of clue for tomorrow morning to come and check around here for our little green-eyed boy, and maybe he'll be around and at dams instead of Hosana in the morning. Interesting though. There's definitely a lot of leopard movement around the Mulawati at the moment. I wonder if the rains are going to change that. I remember when I first started at Safari Live, I didn't see leopards in the Mulawati at all. In fact, I think it took me about 4 months until I saw my first leopard in the Mulawati, and now in the last 2 weeks I think I've seen about 40 in there. And it's obviously not 40, but there's been a vast majority of the sightings have been in and around the Mulawati drainage section. So it must be somewhere. There must be something about the dry season, maybe the shade that comes into the area and causes a much better place for them to lie down. Also, I suppose twin dams is a huge benefit as well, because that's water for these cats where there's no water anywhere else. They also go up to Gari Dam, so it's nice connective kind of tissue to have when you have a drainage line that runs from one big water source to another one. It helps to be able to then find these guys, because they'll go from one to another and back and forth, and that's why I'm sure we're seeing so many moving around here. But other than that, not much happening. A few impala, one or two little scrub hares have popped over the road while I've been driving, and there's updates that the Nkuma female that we had earlier, she's crossed into the west, so she's gone back to Simamili side to go rejoin the pride. Apparently they heard her calling. That buffalo herd is turning north towards Manyeleti, which is not ideal for us. And what else is happening? That's it. That's the only updates I've got. They didn't find Tingana this afternoon at Cheetah Plains. It seems to have vanished. And that's all that there was. I think the hyena den with Gwen was active for some part of the afternoon. I don't think the whole afternoon, but some part of it was active and was working and going, and so we'll try maybe check there in the morning too. I didn't do it. You're asking where are the elephants? Well, in this area at the moment we have weather like we just had the last 2 days. Elephants are going to be pretty much gone. There won't be too many around. Like this weather, they try and get into dense, thick areas, try and hide out from the wind and the cold, and so you see very little of elephants around cold front. But prior to that, when it was hot, we also didn't see too many until that last afternoon before the cold, when I thought, well, the elephants are back now, then all of a sudden the weather changes, and that's the end of that. But we did have those two herds, and I believe there was a herd seen today on Torchwood coming this general direction, so maybe tomorrow morning we'll have some ellies. It would be nice to have some elephants tomorrow morning, given that the wind is settling. It looks like it's breaking up overhead. I can see a few stars, and so that would generally mean that we are going to experience some clear weather and hopefully warmer weather, which will drive the elephants to come and drink at some of the waterholes, particularly if the sun is out. Now, for those of you that are also wondering about the pangolin tracks that I found the other day and whether I've been checking around, I have every night driven the same road to come and check for this pangolin. Every morning, every night, to try and see if there's any more tracks coming back over the road. But so far, there's been absolutely nothing, and it's exactly where we are now. So we're just checking slowly along, seeing maybe by some miracle this pangolin's still around. It is now going a little bit far for us to probably expect it to be here if we haven't found any more signs. You can see this is where it crossed. That's the mark that we made to indicate this area, and unfortunately, if it's 3-4 days and no more signs, chances are that it's probably moved on a little bit and is no longer actually in this particular section, which is a bit of a bummer. But now is the time of the year when you see pangolins. You'll find them a lot more in August, September, October. It's their breeding season from what I read, and they tend to be a lot more active, and they try and find one another and find mates, and so you find them kind of going across roads and moving and looking for each other, and so it's a good time for seasons apparently. August, September, October is apparently the best time for them. That would be a really nice surprise. I would be super happy with one of those. Like I say, otherwise it feels a little bit quiet out here. No sounds of any owls, no genets in any of the holes in the tree. I've been checking extensively in all of them, trying to find... Riti, you wanted an owl and an aardvark. Well, aardvark would be, well, we'll do flick flack if we saw an aardvark. They're very uncommon to see. Although the right weather for them, overcast conditions, that means they'll be out a little bit earlier than normal. So that would have been a nice... But owls was something that we could have done, but I can't find any yet. So I'm going to check. There's a tree up ahead, not too far. I might have to get a little bit of a move on to see if I can get there in time, because we're running towards the end of show now. But I'm going to try and get towards where this tree is, that there is a Scops owl pair that sometimes sits in it, so we'll try and find them quickly. Let's, just like I say, get a bit of a move on to where I need to be. It's a tree coming up in the distance here. It's actually, maybe it's this one. Yes, it is this one. So actually, sorry, I thought it was the one in front, but it is this one. So now I've just got to try and scan around. So it is a Scops owl pair, and they are quite difficult to spot. Let's wait, I can actually hear one. No, they're not here, they're further on today. So let's try and track it down quickly by sound. But it sounds like it's calling somewhere here. Maybe this big tree is actually where they are this evening. It's going to be very difficult in this tree to find them. Come on, call for us. Don't see any eyes. We should get eyes quite quickly from the spotlight. So no, it doesn't seem like they're in this tree either. Let's just go forward and see if we can find one more big tree. It's somewhere in this general vicinity. So, Tony, you want a demonstration of how Pooji works. Now, I don't think we're going to have enough time, because I've taped Pooji so that he stays where he is. We've got to turn Pooji on, and he's got a fancy little chime when he turns on. So, we'll try to turn him on. Ooh, there we go. Alright, Pooji, the stage is set for you. So, there we go. Now, I'm going to play... Let's play an owl call. Let's play the Scops owl, since we were looking for them. Not bad, eh? Pooji's got some good lungs on him. You can actually hear the other Scops owls answering back because of how loud it is. So there we go. That's Pooji's. What other owls do we hear? Pearl spotted. Let's see if it's better than Byron's pearl spotted owlet. Not bad, actually. Pooji has got a good set of lungs, that's for sure. So there we go, that's Pooji's debut. We will use Pooji more often. Let's put Pooji back where he needs to be though, so that he's taped up back on the dashboards so he doesn't fall. But apparently we're counting down, and unfortunately it's the end of the show. So from Senzo and myself, goodbye. We'll see you all tomorrow morning on the Sunrise Safari.